It's the Alberta Golf Podcast, Moving Day at the Open Championship from Royal Birkdale. Well, we're not at Royal Birkdale. Well, I am at, as you can plainly see, I'm at Royal Birkdale. This is the, that's what Royal Birkdale looks like on any given day. Isn't that right, Art?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, my background is I'm stuck in my office today
Yeah.
at the golf course, but that's not so bad either.
Art New joins us from Trestle Creek Golf Resort, just 56 minutes west of Edmonton on the Yellowhead. We will have more on what's going on at Trestle Creek coming up on this version of the Moving Day podcast. We'll also want to thank our sponsors, Canada Golf Cart Driving Range. We've also got mixedbag.com. mixdbag.com, women's, men's, polo shorts, joggers, cardigans, and of course I'm wearing my mixed bag shirt, the Hummingbird, as per usual. And we're going to have a code word on the podcast today, so listen for the code word. That will give you an opportunity to get a really great deal, not only at Canada Golf Cart Driving Range, but also at Trestle Creek Golf Resort. So the code word is going to be coming up in about 5-10 minutes. Listen through to the podcast for that. And we've got other goodies coming up for you on the podcast here today. Like I said, Art New, head pro at Trestle Creek Golf Resort. TrestleCreek.ca is the website. And it's been a busy year out there. Everything's going good, aside from the multitude of days of rain that we've had.
You know, it's been unbelievable, Terry. I've been in the Edmonton area, as you know, for 36 years in the golf industry, and I don't recall a year like this ever. We've had some rainy weeks and so on, but not a stretch like this, and then not the downpours we've had. You know, so many of the courses, including us, have lost many days to flooding. You know, we have the Sturgeon River actually starts out here, and it overflowed and crested, and we lost probably 6 days in total over June, and a little bit in July here. But some of the courses in town in Edmonton are still, feeling it and shut down. I heard that Sturgeon Valley has 3 or 4 holes that are still flooded. The Sturgeon River, which ends up there, actually crested and came over the dike, and so they've got 2 feet of water on a couple holes, and it's just slow draining. I've heard rumors that Edmonton Springs and Meadowview, the old JR, are still have some holes closed. I don't know how many. It's been a terrible start in the golf industry for all of us, and there's nothing you can do about it. You know, Mother Nature is Mother Nature, unfortunately. And on nice days, when we are open, it's busy, and everybody is, out playing. And like today, it's packed. It's hot and humid. I'm dying in my office here. I don't know, you can tell it's part of my weight loss program, but anyhow, it's great on nice days, but boy, we've had a lot of rain, and those storms coming at night. It's just been a weird year. So even at the driving range, we're way down because we've been closed a number of days. When it's pouring rain or raining, people aren't out hitting balls. So unfortunately.
Well, and just a reminder, we'll give you a code word here on the podcast, give you an opportunity to get a little spiff, a great deal for use at the Canada Golf Cart Driving Range, also at Trestle Creek. And any of the golf courses that Art mentioned, please do contact them and find out what their current conditions are, because obviously this podcast being recorded in between the second and third round of the Open Championship, but things may change from a day-to-day basis. And even seeing some of the social media stuff, Twin Willows was having a real hard time with some of the rain that came through. It's not too far, kind of about a 9-iron, a 6-iron away from my place. And they were dealing with some heavy rains and a lot of pooling water as well. So you try and get rid of it as quickly as you can. But like you said, Art, all of the golf courses are dealing with it. And it was a late start to the year, and now we're dealing with this torrential rain from time to time. It just is not the friend of a golf superintendent or a head pro or anything like that.
No.
Conversely, it doesn't look very wet at Royal Birkdale.
No, it's the opposite there. This is a very unusual British Open. Typically, you watch it to watch the golf pros play in torrential rain and wind and just adverse conditions. And other than the wind, has been a bit of a factor for sure. And the golf course is getting hard and fast is making a big difference. But yeah, it's not a typical British Open by any means. And I think it's supposed to be the same conditions all weekend. The morning rounds have been the more favorable times to play. Two guys shot 62 today, which tied the Open record. And the afternoon rounds is more of a struggle, just because the wind changes. I think it changes to the northwest or something, and causes some havoc. And holding the greens and where the pins are and stuff. These greens it's hard to tell on TV, but they're quite undulating. There's false fronts on some of them. They're elevated a bit. So it's difficult to hit it in the correct area. And you have to be very strategic in how you play that golf course. And a lot of times you might want to play short, so you're pitching it on and just trying to get a par and get out of there. That's another, thing that the guys are doing. Also, the bunkers are quite penal on a lot of the holes. I don't know if you saw day one, a couple of the guys, Hideki Matsuyama on his knees, and he hit an unbelievable bunker shot. I think it was on 18. And then there was another fella that had to do it as well. And we're not used to that here in North America. We don't get that very often. But over there, you certainly do. I know myself with my knees, if I had to go in some of those bunkers, I'd still be there. I probably wouldn't get out. But yeah, it's quite an interesting Open, and I love seeing how they're mastering it. I mean, 62 today. The greens were still receptive in the morning, and the wind wasn't blowing very hard. But that's golfing your ball. That's fantastic. But the afternoon rounds were a little more, difficult for sure.
Just looking at the leaderboard, Herbert. Is it Herbert or Hebert?
Yeah.
I'm not sure. There's so many names on there that I are unfamiliar to me. Burns and Herbert are the two that shot 62 today.
Yeah, Herbert should have been 61. It would have been a new record. He on 18, he didn't get up and down from in front of the green. He hit his shot right into the Kikuyu or the fescue, whatever they call it. And he got a free drop, but he still had a tough shot and a tough lie. And he hit a 9-iron short, played it in a great position, and then just didn't hit he did an okay chip, and he had, I think, about a 10-footer or something, and he missed it. Otherwise, it would have been a new record for the Open.
Kikuyu is fun to say, but not fun to hit out of.
No, exactly. I think Kikuyu is more native to North America. I'm not sure what they call it over there, but gorse. I know when I played in Scotland, that gorse bush, you couldn't play out of it. If you went in there, I mean, it would just cut you to shreds.
Well, that's the thing. And playing the old course and the new course at St. Andrews, and then playing a couple of the other courses, we stayed in Lukers, which is just outside of St. Andrews, and stayed at the old castle in Lukers. It was amazing. But there were times where you would hit into mind you, when we played the old course, there was sideways rain, and it was gusting from 50 miles an hour to 70 miles per hour. The wind was. So, I mean, it was a miserable day. But the thing about the gorse is if you hit your ball into it, even if it's close, if it's within arm's reach, you put your arm in there, and you might be able to get your arm in to grab your ball. But it's when you pull your arm out, that's when, kind of all of the sort of quills or pointy things from the gorse, that's when you put your arm in, you're going with the grain, and then you pull it out, and that's when they all kind of go like this and get you.
Yeah.
And,
it's like a barb.
It really is.
Yeah. It sounds like you're speaking from experience.
Yes, I am. I'm totally speaking from experience on a number of golf courses. Like I said, the rainy day on the old course, it was a very windy but sunny day on the new course, and then a couple of others. We played Carnoustie as well when we were over there. So.
Carnoustie, the locals call it. Yeah.
I'll tell you something. That was the hardest game of golf I have ever played in my life. And I didn't play poorly, but it was so difficult. What an incredible test of golf at Carnoustie. It was unbelievable.
Absolutely.
It was 2017, and the next year the Open was being played there.
Yeah, I'd have to check, but I think Ben Hogan won there, and he won the Open, and when it was the British Open still, and they have Hogan's Alley there on the one hole, the par 5 along the fence line, but I'm pretty sure after he won, he said he hopes he never comes back there again. He hated it, but yeah, it's a tough golf course. I have a picture. There's a fairway bunker, and I can't recall the hole right now that I went. I didn't hit it into it, but I went and stood in it and had a picture taken. And it's a good 5 feet above my head with the sodded wall. And I mean, and it's a fairway bunker. It's not a greenside bunker. If you hit it in there, you have to go sideways. You can't go up and over it. It was just unbelievable.
I have a great picture of my brother-in-law, Jamie, standing at, that little creek that goes across in front of the 18th hole on the 18th fairway. Yeah, he's standing there with one of those telescopic ball retrievers, and his caddy's standing there beside him, kind of looking up like, Jesus, like
awesome.
He's got it fully extended. He's trying to get that. I don't know what kind of ball it was, but it was pretty special.
That's funny that he actually took his ball retriever all the way to Scotland. But remember in the Open when Jean Van de Velde played that hole, and I think he made a triple or quadruple bogey to lose the British Open. Yeah. And because he hit it in the water twice, I believe, and it was a mess. And I don't know if you've ever seen it, but years later, he produced a video of him going back to the scene of the crime and playing 18 at Carnoustie, but only with his putter. And he beat the score that he got in the British Open, I think. It's pretty, if you can Google it and find it, it's pretty neat.
What a great story.
Yeah, it was pretty awesome.
Let's get to our code word here for the Moving Day podcast on the Alberta Golf Podcast. It's Moving Day at the Open Championship in Royal Birkdale, and we have a code word for you, which gives you an opportunity to get a large bucket for the price of a small bucket at the Canada Golf Card driving range. All right? So there's a great deal for you there if you want to go and practice your swing. Don't forget your short game. The other thing that we have is at Trestle Creek Golf Resort, just 56 minutes west of the city on the just off the Yellowhead. You turn left. 25% off green fees up until when?
Let's say August 15th.
You want to do August 15th? Okay.
Yeah, so we'll do it for a month.
Okay. Deadline of August 15th, 25% off green fees if you call and reserve your tee time and use the code word
Claret Jug. So 2 words, I guess, but yeah.
Okay.
We'll
Claret Jug is, of course, the trophy that they all play for at the Open Championship. The code word is Claret Jug, 25% off green fees up to August 15th at Trestle Creek Golf Resort, and a large bucket of balls for the price of small at the Canada Golf Card driving range down on the south side of Edmonton. I want to thank mixedbag.com, mixdbag.com. Stu and Danny for their sponsorship of the Alberta Golf Podcast Moving Day last year and this year as well. Men's, women's, polos, shorts, joggers, cardigans. Really, really nice golf attire for men and women. So go to mixedbag.com, mixdbag.com. One more reminder, the Claret Jug. Claret Jug is the code word. All right, yeah. Art, tell me everything you need to tell me, everything I need to know about Royal Birkdale. Where is it? What it's all about? The history of it? I know you always come with both pistols cocked and loaded with information.
Yeah, I have a little bit. So it was founded in 1899 as the Birkdale Golf Club. I didn't actually write down when it became a Royal, which would mean that the Royals visited and played it, I think. Like Royal Mayfair in Edmonton was granted that distinction because Prince Charles and Diana were there, I believe, here in Edmonton. So that's how you become a royal. And anyway, founded in 1889, it was the Hawtrey family of architects over the years, and a few different generations that have worked on the golf course originally and then tweaked it a few times. So kind of neat that it's in the same family that has worked on it and fixed it up. There was one little tidbit I heard, and I wasn't able to verify it, but apparently each year they put out a request for 32 locals that live within so many kilometers of the golf course, and you have to apply as the local, and they interview you. And if you're one of the successful 32, what they ask of you is every day you're given a certain day and so many hours in a week where you come out, repair divots, fix ball marks, rake bunkers, okay, things like that. And then what that allows you is for that season, before 8 a.m. or after 5 p.m., you get to play for free on the golf course. And
who wouldn't sign up for that?
Exactly. But and I guess it's not everyone gets picked because there's only 32 spots that they select. And I wasn't able to find out if it's 32, like if you're picked one year, do they not pick you the next year? I don't know that. But 32 spots, you go out X number of hours. Somebody said 100 hours. Now, I couldn't verify if that was for the season, for the year. I wasn't sure. Or if that's a month. I don't know. But yeah, before 8 a.m. and after 5 p.m., you get to play. You can book a time, go out and play. So pretty cool.
That is neat.
So they were apparently the first ones that started that. And so many of the other courses now are starting to follow suit. So I have to verify that still about the other golf courses and everything, but I thought that was pretty neat. Birkdale's hosted the Open 10 times since 1954 to 2017. So this would be the 11th time. It's hosted the Women's Open 6 times, and I believe the Senior Men's Open once. Some incredible winners. It's been very famous over the years when it has hosted the Open with very large comebacks, which will make our discussion in a few minutes a little more interesting too. But I think Mark O'Meara came from 10 shots behind on the weekend when he won, and he won in 1998. And he shot a pair of 65s Saturday and Sunday, and came back to win. But Peter Thompson's won a couple times at Birkdale. First time was 1954, second time in 65, so 11 years apart. He was an Aussie. Arnold Palmer won there in 61, Trevino in 71, Johnny Miller 1976, Watson in 83. So some big time winners. Ian Baker Finch in 81, his only major. Pardon me, 2 majors, the Masters and that one. Padraig Harrington in 08 and Jordan Spieth in 17. Little thing, so 1954, Peter Thompson, winner's paycheck was $750. And in Johnny Miller, 1976, it was $7,500. So not a huge payday back then.
No.
Tom Watson was $40,000 in 83. Ian Baker Finch, $90,000. That was in 91. Mark O'Meara in 98 was $300,000. And Padraig Harrington, $750,000 in 2008, which wasn't that long ago. And then Jordan Spieth was $1.4 million in 2017. And this year in 2026, it's $3.2 million to the winner. So it's a long way from $750 back, 70 years ago. But I found that interesting.
It is interesting, and it's the other thing to take into consideration with that is just a mind-blowing amount of money for the winner, and then the second place winner gets probably in the neighborhood of 2 or 1.5, and then the third place gets close to $1 million, and there's a lot of money that changes hands at the end of this golf tournament. But at the same time, there's an awful lot of money that ends up staying in the region because the PGA is so immersed in the communities that they go to these golf tournaments, and they end up supporting everything from children's hospitals to, the list goes
100%.
on.
And this one I think is run by the RNA.
Yeah.
But the PGA does have support in it as well, obviously, because it's a major championship. And you're right. I'm sure they donate lots to the local community, and the R&A would as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
RNA, of course, stands for the Royal and Ancient. And
Yes.
you see that all over the place. The Royal and Ancient is on little brass signs and stuff on stone walls all over the old course at St. Andrews and Carnoustie and all kinds of places.
Yes,
So,
and they became quite significant today at the end of the day. I don't know if you heard about that
well, all of the rules business and the
with
stuff that was going on.
with Bryson.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So for anybody that didn't watch that, he completed his round and he got to 7 under par. He had a fantastic day today in the afternoon. He was one of the lower scorers. And they pulled him aside after the round and had a little discussion. And apparently on the fifth hole, he improved his lie in the gorse or in the fescue, the long grass, let's say that. And he didn't realize it, and so yeah, they gave him a 2-stroke penalty after the fact. So no disqualification because it wasn't intentional, I don't think, but but still, that's got to bother him going into the weekend. I would say instead of being, 1 shot back, he's now 2. So, or pardon me, 3 now.
3 shots, yeah.
Yeah.
As you were watching that happen, and I'm sure all of the replays and whatnot, because there's cameras everywhere at an event like this. How did you see it? Did you see an improvement of the lie, or was it, what was
I
your...
only, to be honest with you, I just saw it really quickly in the clubhouse as I was running through, and I didn't really know what was going on at the time because the sound wasn't on, so I couldn't hear what was going on. Apparently, it was on for his backswing is where he brushed the grass away or something. And I'll have a look at it tonight for sure on the replays. So I really didn't get a good look at it to see, but it must have been pretty obvious for them to apply a 2-stroke penalty.
Mm-hmm. That's that, and whether it's intentional or not, it's part of the code of conduct of golf too. Where people call penalties on themselves, and we've seen that an awful lot in with the televised versions of golf tournaments that have happened all over the world, for that matter. So, what are some of the other stories that have caught your eye over the course of the first 2 rounds, aside from the 2 62s that happened? And
yeah,
then,
I mean,
of
the
course,
other one was
thing.
I was watching it on Sky Sports. So I don't know if everyone gets that. Probably don't get that feed, but it was quite interesting yesterday when Bryson finished his round. Apparently, Nick Faldo, who's working for Sky Sports over there during this broadcast, had said that Bryson doesn't play strategically at all. He just gets up, hits it as hard as he can, and tries to outmuscle a golf course. And Faldo was saying you can't do that in a British Open, and he's probably not going to succeed, and so forth. So after the round yesterday, Bryson shot a 3-under and was in great shape. And I watched the interview, and he was giving some subtle jabs. He didn't say Faldo's name, but he mentioned quite a few times, I played very strategically today and, golfed my ball. And it was, so there's a little internal conflict between him and Faldo going on, I think, over there. But Bryson, I thought he handled it okay. I think I've told you in the past, I wasn't a huge Bryson fan until he started doing his little YouTube channel and his own videos. And it was quite entertaining. And he did some fun stuff, the hole-in-one over his house and so on. And he gave a fan $100,000 if they could hit a shot. And so he's growing on me, and he wasn't on my dance card for this event. Part of it was because exactly what Faldo said. He wasn't trying to be mean or anything, but this is a golf course that you have to, don't take driver out all the time and place your ball in certain areas. And so and his record this year has been awful in majors. I think he missed all 3 cuts in the 3 majors prior. So he wasn't on my card, but he is now. He's today's round, he played very solid, other than that 2-stroke penalty, and I honestly don't think it was intentional. And so he's going to be a force unless he lets this bother him.
Yeah.
And it could, it's hard to say.
There are a lot of people that are within 5 strokes of the leader.
It's
Uh,
unbelievable.
and if you look back, even a tie for 36, just anybody who's under par, that's 38 people. You've got people, Matsuyama, who you mentioned earlier. You've got McIlroy. You've got Svensson. You've got Corey Connors is in there at -2.
Yeah.
And, Oberg and Spahn and Tommy Fleetwood. Scheffler is there at -4. So this is still anybody's tournament as we look at, a third and fourth round coming up.
It's going to be a lot of fun to watch. I really, especially a golf course like this, because it can go sideways so fast. I said that at Shinnecock with the U.S. Open, but this is even worse. Like if you're a little offline or you get in some of those bunkers that you definitely do not want to get into, I mean, all of a sudden you can be staring at triple bogey like nothing, or a double for sure. And if that wind starts to kick up, boy, it's going to be a lot of fun to watch. The guys, like you said, Herbert, Gerard, Suber, you haven't heard much of them. Herbert, I think, has been a golf pro for a number of years and played on the tour, but I've never really noticed him, and Suber and Gerard, same thing. I think a couple of them were on the European tour and the Corn Ferry and stuff but I don't know. I mean, they played well today. Especially Herbert. He was unbelievable. But you know what happens when you shoot 62 the next day, you're shooting low 70s. It's hard to go back to back. So I'll be shocked if those guys are there. The guys I'm interested in, well, Cameron Young. Again, he wasn't on my radar for this event because he kind of went quiet after his big win this year, earlier in the year. But here he is again, and he's always right there in the majors. And he looks pretty focused. I mean, two -3 rounds back to back. That's pretty solid. The other guy, well, Sam Burns, and 62 today. But remember the U.S. Open, his final day on Sunday. He missed by one shot and he lit it up. I can't remember. He was 63 or something, like 64. He was right there. So he's got the game. He's, look out for him. And I think if anybody can back up a 62, I don't think he'll shoot another 62, but he could come back with a 68 or something, and then he'll be right in the thick of things. Right. He's honestly at -10, -11 that would win, in my mind. The R&A is definitely going to tuck some pins the next 2 days now. They probably enjoyed the 62s, but they probably don't want to see another one. So I'd be shocked if we see another one. And then the other guys, here's a guy that's from over there. He's Scottish, but he's always right there at these big events, and that's Robert McIntyre. Yeah. He's gritty. He knows how to play in those conditions. Last week at the Scottish Open, he was in the top 5, I think. And here he is again at -4. And, he's right there. I was really surprised that Matt Fitzpatrick missed the cut. I thought he would be right up there because he was, the Scottish Open, he was right there. And I was shocked that he missed the cut, but his brother is playing unreal. And what a story that is after qualifying, with his brother in the 2-man event on the PGA and winning that and getting an exemption. And boy, is he taking advantage of it. So he's at -4. He's right in the hunt. This guy's come under the radar, and he's got 12 wins worldwide. He's an Englishman. They have hardly talked about him in comparison to, Tommy Fleetwood, who again is right there. His home course, basically. He grew up at Royal Birkdale. He's doing very well at -4. It's very hard to win on your home course, but I think now that he's into the weekend, he might light it up. But the guy that I'm talking about is Matt Wallace. They don't mention him much, and he's an Englishman. He's won 12 times around the world. He's only got one PGA event, and in fact, I think it's the Punta Cana event, which is on right now, it always coincides when the Open is on. So he's at -4. So there's a guy that he knows how to win. He won on the European Tour, the DP Tour, or the Asian Tour. He's a guy we could watch, which would be quite interesting. And then let's not forget Scotty Scheffler.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, he's 4 under. He's not putting well, and it's been that way all year. If his putter comes back to how it used to be, and that's golf. We all know that. It can all of a sudden, from day to day, fire up. And he's hitting the ball unbelievable. And if he starts making those putts, watch out for Scotty.
All right. And do you have a pick? So when everything's done after the 72 holes or a playoff, do you?
Yeah, you know what? I really like Cameron Young. Like I said, he was not on my radar. But I really like him. The other guy that's there is John Rahm. His game hasn't been the same, though, ever since he went to live. He's always a hothead. In fact, today he got a warning. On the 15th hole, he threw his iron after his tee shot, and it bounced down the fairway. And 2 holes later, an RNA official was coming towards him, and in what I read, he said, I knew exactly why he was coming. And they give him a warning. So you get a warning the first time. Second violation, you get a 2-stroke penalty. And if you do it a third time during the course of the tournament, you're DQ'd. So, and John is a hothead. So if he hits a bad shot and he wants to throw that club, all of a sudden he's going to be, I better not do that. And that might bother him a little bit. So I don't know if I like him, but I really like Scotty. My other dark horse to start the week was Molinari. And, he's won the British Open, and he is -4, and he just goes about his business. He's won 1 or 2 majors. I can't remember now, but Francisco Molinari. So he's hanging around. He could he played well in Scotland last week, so he could have a good moving day. But I'm going to go with Cameron Young. That's my pick.
All right. Very good, Art. Thank you so
you?
much. Well, you know what? I've got a soft spot in my head for Corey Connor. At some point, he's got to get his putter working. Yes. And he's not that far out right now. He's sitting there at -2, 6 strokes back, like you said. Somebody could hit it into something, and all of a sudden they drop 3 strokes, and he's right in the fray. So the fact that you got that McIlroy character driving the ball over 400 yards. Maybe he's going to be the guy after some of the stuff that he's already pulled off in the first 2 rounds. But
yeah, he had a great day today.
Yeah,
he played very well today.
Art, thank you so much again for another Moving Day podcast brought to you by Canada Golf Card Driving Range. Again, the password or the code word for this Moving Day is Claret Jug for a large bucket for the price of a small at the Canada Golf Card Driving Range. And if you want 25% off green fees up to August 15th at Trestle Creek Golf Resort, trestlecreek.ca. Call and book your tee time. Use the code word Claret Jug, and you will get 25% off your green fees. And the other thing that we're going to do is, because you listened until the very end of the podcast for the entire thing, we give you an opportunity for a reward. You watched to the end. Now, for the final round, okay? So July 19th, that's the Sunday. I know the final round starts early in the morning because it's over in the UK. But for the 24-hour period from midnight until midnight, on Sunday, July 19th, if you email headpro@trestlecreek.ca, your name will go into a draw for an opportunity to win a foursome with carts and a box of Pro V1s. Put Moving Day. I listened to the Moving Day podcast, and then you'll get your entry. All right? So there's your bonus for listening for the very end of the podcast. Email headpro@trestlecreek.ca. From midnight to midnight, July 19th only. That's the final day of the Open Championship. And just say that you watched to the end of the Moving Day podcast. Your name will go into a draw for a foursome with carts and a box of Pro V1s. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you for that, Art. Thanks so much, and enjoy the rest of the golf.
Thank you, and you too. We'll talk soon.